Welcome to Hyperbola Practice Problem 4. I encourage you to challenge yourself and try to figure out the answer before I get to it. So you may want to write down the problem and pause the video. You're asked to write the equation of a hyperbola in standard form, given the center is -2, 2. The transverse axis is the x-axis. The distance from the center to the vertex is 4, and the length of the conjugate axis is 4. Okay. So the first important thing is that the transverse axis is the x-axis, right? That is the key to telling me x-axis, I think horizontal. This is a horizontal hyperbola. That's very, very important because that's going to set us up for the correct equation. Horizontal hyperbola. Okay. And recall, we need to say that x minus h quantity squared over a squared minus y minus k quantity squared over b squared equals 1. And now we're just going to try to fill in the missing pieces. So let's see what we can figure out. So the center is always hk. And if h is a -2 and it goes into the formula, it's going to appear like x minus a -2. It's going to look like x plus 2. So this is going to be x plus 2 quantity squared. Okay, now a squared I think we can figure out. Why? It tells us that the distance from the center to the vertex is 4, but that's really secret code for the letter A, right? So the distance from the center to a vertex is always using the letter A. So if A is 4, A squared is going to be 16. Okay, so I have it like half of this ready. Now minus, and I have to fill in k. Well, k is a +2. Going into the formula, it's going to look like y minus 2. So this is y minus 2 quantity squared, and it's asking us for b squared. But we have a clue, right? It's telling me that the length of the conjugate axis is 4. All right, so let me just sort of draw you a picture of what that looks like. And I'm just going to draw a super, super rough sketch. I know this is a horizontal hyperbola, right? So it's going to go like that. Here's my center, right? And the transverse axis is my x-axis. And this is totally not drawn to scale whatsoever, but I'm just trying to illustrate a point. When it's saying the length of the conjugate axis, it doesn't mean this axis. It means this distance right here. Okay, and remember, this distance is b, this distance is b. So the length of the conjugate axis to be 4, that means this has got to be a 2 and a 2. That means b is 2, which means b squared is, let me just move this up a tad, b squared is 4. Okay, so that's how you can kind of deduce what that is. There's a 4 here, this equals 1, you have your equation in standard form. This would be my final correct answer. And you don't even have to draw the picture in this case. You can just sort of plug in the pieces together. Now you can draw it if you like, but this would be my final answer.